Hello and welcome back to the Floyd Guide to Passing the Politics exam. Once again, we're looking here primarily at Edexcel, Unit 2 of the AS. If you're looking at any other, if you're sitting any other board, other boards are available. Don't come to me moaning if the information is not accurate. This is designed specifically with the Edexcel AS Unit 2 Politics exam in mind. And with that foremost in mind, let's get on with it. So, this is Unit 2, so this is Government and Politics of the UK, how the state works, or rather if it doesn't. And so these are the four areas you need to look at. Now you'll remember from the Unit 2, each of those comes up in a fairly predictable fashion. That breaks here with Unit 2. But the one thing that is the same is that you've got 80 marks and you've got 80 minutes. The other thing that is the same is the importance of planning. In fact, if anything, planning is even more important with these Unit 2 questions than there is with the Unit 1, and for exactly the same reasons. You have got a limited amount of time, you've got a limited amount of knowledge. There's no way you can make profitable use of both of those without a plan. Failure to plan, planning to fail, plan more, write less. We'll chant this in class until you finally start to do as you are told. Yes, planning, so important. These exams are designed to push you for time. You should not have sufficient time to finish it. And so if you haven't had the foresight to create a plan, you are going to be coming unstuck sure as day follows night. Okay, this is what the paper looks like. And once again, in case you doubted me, here are the 80 minutes and here are the 80 marks. So far, so familiar. However, it moves into a different structure. We've got two different sets of questions here. We've got a section 1 and a section 2. And if you remember, there are four particular elements that can come up here: the legislative, the executive, the judiciary, and the constitution. Now, one of those will come up, or sorry, all of those will come up, but there will be two here and there will be two here. So you will have to answer, or rather your range of potential answers is limited. You don't have the same freedom that you do in Unit 2. So this is the section 1, and we can see in this particular instance they've chosen to target the executive and the constitution. And what we've got here are structured questions. We've got the 5, the 10 and the 25 as we did previously, as we did in AS, but this is different. This is directing you to look at a source and to perform slightly different tricks for the examiner, slightly different, that is, from the previous AS Unit 1 exam. Now, please answer one of these questions. Do not answer both of them. That's stupid, okay? Now, what does it mean if I say answer them? What is required? Well, again, different skills from different sections, but here we go. This one here is extraction. You need to extract 2 points, but most importantly, you can't just cut and paste them. You can't just quote them verbatim. You need to demonstrate that you understand, and you do that by virtue of synthesis. So in this case of this, you're looking for 2 constitutional reforms. He mentions there AV, a directly elected House of Lords, and there was a codified constitution there. So here he alludes to 3 different ones. Pick 2 of those and then explain them in your own words to get full marks. It's very straightforward. It's a mechanical exercise, but it does require synthesis. It's not a simple extraction. It's not drag and drop. You need to go through the workings and demonstrate you understand it. Now, when it does come to the actual mechanical question, explain the arguments in favour of introducing a codified constitution, you will need 3 points, and one of those from the text and the other one from your own brain, from your own knowledge. So again, it doesn't matter if you have 2 from the text, 1 from your own knowledge, or 1 from the text, 2 from your own knowledge. You just have to come up with 3 points, 1 from each camp. And then we move on to evaluation. And again, there's going to be information here that is useful to you. So for God's sake, use it. But it will again be an evaluation. To what extent? So on one hand, it's been good. On the other hand, it's been bad. On one hand, it's succeeded. On one hand, it's succeeded. On the other hand, it hasn't. But please plan these questions. And this brings me back to the point, and this is essentially exactly the same as Unit 1. A point is an idea, an explanation, and the evidence is there to enhance the explanation, not simply be tacked on like a go faster stripe. We've done that one already. What does a good answer look like? Well, again, make a plan, leave a line between your points and aim for balance. This is your A and your B. This is exactly the same as AS Unit 1. And again, your C question is that times 2 plus perhaps a tiny little conclusion at the end. So far, so familiar. And again, what you don't want is that. Now we move on to Section 2. Section 2 is tricky. This is the trickiest aspect of the whole of the AS course, because what you're being asked for here is a proper essay with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, 40 marks. You've got 40 minutes to answer this question. I strongly advise you spend at least 10 minutes thinking and planning this out. Now, you'll notice I said thinking and planning, because this really is a two-stage exercise. You have to think, okay? And this means trying to break down the question, trying to say, okay, they're asking me here for some definitions, and I'm going to need some mechanics, and then I'm going to need some analysis and some evaluation. And you should by now have worked out that that really is an A, a B, and a C question. So think, what are they looking for? You then need to rebuild, and this is the plan section. There will be a key, there will be a particular key in any particular question, and the more you practice, the better you will find it, the better you will become at finding that key. And that key will be the key to building the plan and moving from here to here. Again, this is really just practice, 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 and plan, 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 plan. You really need to go through this process, and this will take you 10 minutes. If you spend 10 minutes doing this, then what's going to happen is you're actually going to come up with a coherent essay that answers all of the questions set, and it delivers all of the specific exam tricks that the examiner wants you to pass. But plan, 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 plan. Now, the chances are we will have gone over these in class. However, when they set these questions, there's often a slightly different nuance, a slightly different spin on a particular question. So be very, very wary of just regurgitating an essay that you've already written. Break it down, do the thinking, do the planning, and then you will be able to take your previous response perhaps and build on that, delivering a successful question. Evidence is exactly the same. It's an examined skill. It is also should be used to support and enhance your point. So we're getting away from saying, for example. When we see, for example, what we're doing there is we're opening the door to our go faster stripes, and we don't want that. What we want is you saying, as we can see, or as this is evident, or we can see this at work in such and such a case, and then that will tee up your evidence to be a functional part of your explanation. That just makes more sense. And finally, evidence remains a fail-safe. If you haven't got the evidence, you probably haven't got a valid point, so go back and think again. In terms of a legitimate range of evidence, it's exactly the same. Remember, this is a politics exam, not a history exam, so you will be up against people who have got bang up-to-date information, and where there is specific evidence from prior to 97, then by all means get it. But the more current, as a general rule, the more current the evidence is, the more impressive, the more weight it's going to have with the examiner. And that is it. Simple, absolutely simple. All you have to do now is go off and learn it. I trust you'll do that, and I look forward to your questions. See you soon.